guys, hope you're well. So yeah, we're going to do a Q&A in a minute. We're going to answer your questions. So I'll just quickly show you the farm where we're up to. This is our net house, nicely weeded. I also just wanted to show you this. It's our kale. This is massive. Yeah. You see how big it is? Super tall with super thick. They got attacked by insects just like everything else did, but they've come back afterwards, and we do eat it. That's the reason kind of why it looks like that. But you can see how big it's massive leaves. It's really beautiful kale, and we've been eating it. That's why it's grown so tall. As you can see where all the leaves used to be, and we pluck them off and have some dinner. Also our spring onions, they're also doing really well. I'm actually going to do a little video about spring onions and how to keep them growing and basically never have to buy a spring onion again. Actually I might take, I'm going to harvest this one. So yeah, I'm going to do a little video on how to keep your spring onions growing. And then our gooseberries, we've just weeded. So it's winter now, so there shouldn't really be too many weeds that are coming back. But they've definitely grown back quite nicely. Okay guys, so I'll show you a couple of other fields and then we'll get into your questions. First up, we have questions from Mason. Thank you very much, Mason, for the idea to do the Q&A and for the long list of questions. So I'm going to get to answer them right now. Okay, so the very first question is, why did we move to South Africa? We actually have always been in South Africa. My mum is South African, and she actually bought the land out here. She's always kind of dreamt to have land here. She's dreamt to have land since she was a child, since apartheid, since she actually left the country. For a black person to own land in South Africa back in apartheid was nearly impossible, and our family history is that our actual great-great-grandmother was actually run off of her land by the colonizers, so it was a very sensitive issue for my mum. Yeah, land is a sensitive subject, and my mum always wanted to own land, so that's the reason why we have land. Now, the land, she bought the land a long time ago, and it was kind of sitting dormant because she bought it with intentions of we have a lot of family in South Africa, so she bought it with the intentions of a family working, but they were more interested in city jobs and stuff like that, so it was kind of like the willingness to come out to Richie, which is where we are, which is the backs of Beyonds, is kind of reluctant. So, and then me, her kids, obviously, we saw this land not being used, and we were like, well, you know, what we could do, investment is an issue, so we all worked in London. We worked normal jobs there, and what money we could save, we put into the business. And from then on, it's kind of where we're at now. It's kind of like, what made us do it? Having the opportunity, like having land as a family, is something that not a lot of people get to have, and we were very privileged to do that. And so we saw it as a complete waste. And this was about 7 years ago now. We saw it as a complete waste for us to own this land and not do anything with it. Knowing how valuable land is. That's really what made us do it. And also the rat race in London. Yeah, a lot of people do ask us why we moved to South Africa from London. Why would you, and people here ask us that, why would you move from London to here? You know, talking about infrastructure. And it's like, that's great. Like, yeah, having electricity that is on 24 hours a day is great. So Eskom. So, but quality of life, it's like I'm always going to be a city girl. I feel like my family's always going to be city oriented, but we appreciate nature. We appreciate where, you know, our food comes from. We appreciate where energy comes from and what it takes and so yeah, coming out here and having that, you know, juxtaposition of city life versus complete rural life. Um, it's good for the soul. It's needed as well. It's like, you know, it's this the last couple of generations. I feel like we're getting more and more distant from the realities of life, which is, you know, food, shelter, you know, healthcare and stuff. And you know, food has been taken for granted. Farmers are being taken for granted. You know, governments across the world are taking farmers for granted, and often a farmer is left. You know, they're the people that are feeding you, feeding your children. You know, giving you the fuel in order to follow your aspirations, which may be nothing to do with the earth. But those people, you know, just like doctors and nurses, they need their credence, they need their dues. And I really want to inspire as well younger generation of farmers, because if we don't start getting a younger generation of farmers soon, the world is going to be without food. And I feel like as well in the dynamic of South Africa, the Afrikaners have a lot of knowledge that they need to pass on to the black youth. And I feel like this country could do with some kind of agricultural program. You know, it's time to share the knowledge, not just about sharing the land or the wealth. It's about sharing the knowledge in order to acquire all of that. Because it's one thing to give people land, it's another thing to have them to actually be educated on it. Anyway, I won't go on too long about that, but that's basically why, you know, we saw an opportunity, we had an opportunity, and we saw the value in it. And yeah, it's definitely hard, but it's been worth it. Okay, so the next question from Mason. Okay, so this is actually two questions that Mason gave, but this is the next batch. So how did you find the property? Okay, so as I said, my mum found the property. It was her who found the land, and it was her dream, so she found that. And then, so yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know too much about. Okay, if you want to own land, the one thing I do know about owning land in South Africa as a foreigner is that you need to have a bank account here, and then there are certain. I mean, if you look online, I think if you search properties and land online, a lot of the estate agents are very helpful, and they've even got YouTube channels themselves. Excuse my dogs. Yeah, some of them have got YouTube channels as well that can actually help you because there are certain things that you do need. I can't remember exactly. Maybe I'll do a video if I do a bit more research on it for you. So the next question is, what would you do different if you had to redo the move, start a small hold? I think the thing that we would do differently is focus on one type of produce earlier. I think that we spent quite a lot of years doing this and doing that and doing many different things. And I feel like definitely as a small hold, specifically as a small hold, you need to find a specialist item, and then you need to find your market for that. And, you know, be willing, you have to, in order to break even, you just have to produce something high value, because you're not going to have as much space as somebody who has like 20 hectares of land. So that's, I think we would probably, if I did anything, I would have done that earlier. I feel like also we would have, there was a lot of needless expense. I think one of the main things I would suggest is don't buy cheap. And also look at your climate, because we brought a lot of cheap stuff, and the semi-arid climate out here in Richie destroyed things immediately. So my thing to you is don't buy cheap. Whatever you need to buy the real thing, buy something that's quality, that's going to last, especially if you're doing farm work. Biggest challenge being in SA versus UK. The biggest challenge we've faced is infrastructure. Honestly, ESCOM has rolling blackouts, and since I've been here, we've had rolling blackouts. And as a business that needs to keep a cold room on, it's not only inconvenient, it's almost can be detrimental. I think to people who've got meat, and luckily for us, our stuff can be actually kept at room temperature and be okay. But I know other people that have meat and other things that are very perishable. So having the electricity go out and then the storm took electricity out, the biggest challenge has been infrastructure. Okay, so the best thing about being in SA versus the UK has to be the sheer amount of opportunity. As I said, if you come here with a plan and a skill set, then you're going to find an open door. You're going to find a willing ear, and you're going to find opportunity. That's the one beautiful thing that I love about South Africans is the willingness to be entrepreneurial. It's I think, the vastness and the history, the upbringing has made it a very much an entrepreneur's kind of candy land. Also, the quality of life, the quality of food is better. The quality of life. Neighbours here know the other neighbours' names, and once you ingratiate yourself with the community, you'll always find a helping hand to do something, fix something. You'll always find a helping hand to talk to. It's people are very community led in South Africa, and so I feel like that's one thing. You'll be I've been coming back and forth for years since I was a child, because obviously my mum is South African, but I feel like I've coming back this time around. I'm coming back as an adult and trying to make friends, and truly I'm a foreigner as well, coming out here because I don't know anybody. I haven't made any friends out here. It's just my family. My family's massive, so I haven't made any friends. So yeah, and I found a very warm welcome from black and white people, I'm gonna say, because the place where I live is very white dominated. So I feel welcomed from both sides. Obviously, there's racism. If you want me to do another video about the racism that I've experienced, I will. But yeah, there has been. But on a majority level, and the people that I've met, people that I've chosen to kind of hang around with as well, as a foreigner with no actual ties or friends, I found it easy to find connections and people that are willing to be very neighbourly and help me. And that's not something that you have in London. You knock on your neighbour's door and they'll be like, who's trying to rob me? What do you want? What are you trying to sell me? Yeah, so that's very different as well. Okay, so next up we have questions from Bridget Hedgie, I believe your name is. And you ask how has it been since fuel prices? We'll ask a few more questions after that. But the first question is fuel prices, and we've seen an increase in fuel prices. We do use diesel and normal petrol as well, but we use diesel for long journeys when we're taking shipments to Johannesburg. And yes, it's been a very sharp increase in the amount of fuel, which, how has it affected us? It's affected, I guess it's like the same way that's affected everybody. You just have less money in your own pockets, Your shipment isn't worth as much, and, we can try to gain the finances back through the customer, but then we isolate the customer. And so it's kind of just becomes a loss, to be honest with you. That's how it's affected us, and how I think it's affecting everybody. Okay, so the next question is lack of seeds. We don't have a lack of seeds, no, especially because of the kind of fruit that we are actually doing as well. We're doing gooseberries, and they're very prolific. So we never have, we're self-produced here, so we cultivate our own seedlings and seeds. So lack of seeds is never going to be an issue for us because, yeah, we produce ourselves. Okay, so your next question is how difficult is it to get agricultural help and support? Um, if you look back in the videos, you'll see the moment that we actually started getting funding. I believe, I believe it was perhaps the third year that my mum and us were heavily involved in what was going on out here. Um, yes, it's been a Ooh, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to say because I feel like, whereas I could easily say that it's difficult in a lot of ways, I feel like because we came out here with a plan and we were willing to put our own investment money, everything, the farm is yet to break even. And so it's basically our own investment. My mum, my brothers, me, it's our investment that keeps this place running. Um, so we were always willing to do that though, because I guess we never were willing to really wait on handouts from the government in that way. But my mum obviously and us were always vying for it because obviously any help is help needed. Um, what I can honestly say, my experience with the government in South Africa specifically, is if you come to them with a business plan that is well thought through with all of your risk factors, thought out, then they are open to listen. And I see more of a push, I think, from the ANC to be more involved agriculturally and energy wise as well, because energy is a very big issue with having a company here. Load shedding is a big problem here, and ESCOM has a lot to answer for with that, as far as I'm concerned. Um, so yeah, like the company, it means the country needs definite infrastructure, like a deep, deep infrastructure investment. Um, and it also needs economy, so it needs businesses to come here and actually start. But once again, a business is going to be very reluctant to come and start here if they can't rely on the energy sources. So it's a catch-22 that South Africa's in, and but at the same time, I see them trying to push ahead with trying to, make farmers more self-sufficient, educate them. I've seen this from them, and yeah, I feel like depending on your circumstances, in relation to getting land out here, is there going to be the availability? I mean, because they're also very keen on black women being motivated and empowered here to start farming and being business owners. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities, and people like Frances Bard, who are an organisation that have helped my mum. She actually won an award there. So yeah, like there are definitely organizations willing to help, and I think the more you get into it, the more you'll see them. But it's just kind of like, if you're gonna come to them with almost a fail-safe plan, and then what help you get, you get. They've definitely have helped us. We've had the solar pump put in. I feel like it's because we've been consistent. I feel like we've seen a lot more help recently because we've been consistent with what we're doing. As because I said, everything is self-funded, so we're not waiting on anybody, and then the government come along and see what they can help with. But I'm sure there are lots of initiatives. I'll do some research as well for you guys. It may not apply necessarily to my circumstance with my mum and my family, but I will definitely try and help people who are perhaps new completely to South Africa and Africa in general, and see if I can find information for you guys. Okay, so my suggestion, so you basically asked a very deep question about whether or not you think it was worth it for somebody who's a foreigner to try and start here. And once again, obviously, my situation is different because my mum is South African. And yeah, so what I can honestly say is that South Africa needs and wants foreigners, quote unquote, to come. I mean, it's skills. And there actually is I can't remember now the document, but there is a document floating about that I saw this year of the skills that South Africa are looking for from foreigners, internationals, to be able to fill these roles in South Africa. So even search that job role, skills needed in South Africa or any country that you're looking to go for, and see if you can fit those skills. If you're looking at Okay, so how difficult it is, it depends. Because if you've got the financial backing, you've got the capital to start a farm, hire a manager, those are all great things. Must you be here in the first year, was your question as well? Yes, 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 and yes. You can easily get a business visa if you've got the capital to invest. There are certain stipulations about how much you have to invest, and I think you promise also to hire a certain amount of people. So if you look at that, because that's basically going to be logistically what you're going to need to have ready. If you can do that, if you're a complete foreigner to the country. After that, yes, you must be here for the first year. You can't hope to start a business the way that you would want to start a business or a farm or any kind of project. And South Africans are very much face-to-face people still. You might find it a bit slow coming when it comes to emails and stuff. Phone will be better, but being face to face, when you're buying things, when you're looking at things, you have to be here. Definitely, I wouldn't leave it unless it was somebody who you trusted. I wouldn't leave it in anybody else's hands, even if you hired them and they had all the qualifications in the world. Definitely, you're going to need to take the year out, if not 3 to 5 years out, in order to be present on the farm. Also, it all depends on what you're farming. If you find somebody experienced, if you're doing cattle, then you find somebody experienced that could caretake, and then maybe it'll be easier for you to come and go. If you're doing agriculture, if you're doing vegetables, then you're going to need to be present because you need to do a lot of things with fertilizers and, the thing about the daily life of a farm is the other things, the things that break, the things that need this, the things that need that, that they've run out of this, they've run out of that, this is broken, that tool is broken, we need more of this, we need more of that. And you're going to be getting a lot of calls from South Africa because there's going to be a lot of things. And this is not to do with South Africa, this is just farm life. If you really want to make a farm, then there's going to be things all the time. Every day, all the time, there's going to be something that needs some kind of attention. So definitely be present, if not the complete first year, then 3 to 5 at least. The next question is, what are the startup costs? That would take some actually digging to find out. But I think the best thing you can really do is, as I've said to you, if you're a foreigner looking to start a business in another country, then you need the business visa. And so whatever the stipulations around the business visa, that's the amount of capital, because there is stipulations to the amount of capital that you need to put into the company. So that would be the amount of capital that you need to get if you wanted to start up. So yeah, you can say that the business investment that you need, excluding the land, would be whatever those stipulations are. I mean, starting a business is kind of like if you've got £5 or if you've got £500,000. It's about how much investment you can put in, and then there's always a way. There's a will, there's a way, and I feel like the best place to give yourself an estimate of how much money you may need to save is just go to do the business visa. They have stipulations, and then that's how much investment you need to start. But I love it here, and I feel like for the African diaspora, it's imperative for us to be motivated, because there's land here, there's land and opportunity, and I feel like if you've got the willpower, you've got the financial backing as well, you should be out here. I mean, this is, when I think about the gold rich eras and the colonial eras of when they came out and saw all this land and wanted it all for themselves, well, I feel like this land is now sitting here waiting for a new masters. They're waiting for new masters, and perhaps to do things in a way that means that your workers can get paid and they're not slavery. Yeah, South Africa is a land of opportunity. I think very much more than a lot of other Western places that claim to be a land of opportunity right now. I think Africa is a land of opportunity, and not to siphon, but actually to build up. I feel like if you're in if you're in energy, if you're in solar, if you're in agriculture, I feel like you need to get your bums to Africa, because Africa needs you. And I feel like if people want to leave Africa like oh, it's a mess, oh, this, and even like, yeah, a big problem is infrastructure and energy here. But does that mean we must leave, or does that mean we must build the economy up, fix the infrastructure so that this country can actually be what it's supposed to be, which is honestly the leaders of the world. Like, South Africa is a great country and it has remarkable amounts of potential. Unfathomable, to the point where I'm kind of mad that it's been such lightly dabbed into right now. But yeah, I say, if you've got the will, you've got the cash, you've got the ideas, the business plan, yeah, just get your business visa, get over here. And yeah, and I'm actually even thinking to myself, like, I actually, I've always kind of wanted to be involved in a African diaspora network, and perhaps I could be of assistance with that, because I don't have as much knowledge, because I'm not exactly on the same stream as you guys that are completely foreign to South Africa or whatever country you might want to go to. So I feel like perhaps I could do something. Perhaps I can create a community, maybe a Facebook page, and let me know if you'd be interested in that, guys. If you'd be interested in me starting like a community where I could just give information, because not all the information is going to be relevant to what my situation, but I could still try and help on the ground here, maybe source some information for you guys. And also, if you do end up moving out here, it'd be nice to kind of know that you've got a network, maybe a community that you could lean on if you need help. Maybe I'll do that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. Okay, guys, so there was a lot of questions, but it was only from 2 people, but it's only quite a lot of questions. So hopefully you guys have got a little bit of an introduction on how we do things and why we do things. Yeah, let me know any more questions, or maybe do a part 2 for you guys. Thank you so much, guys, for your questions. I really appreciate them. Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys. Love you guys so much. Thank you. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye.